Greetings to all my fellow watch enthusiasts on YouTube and Facebook and wherever else this video might be seen and shared. Celine Driver once again bringing you another unboxing and review of a watch that is mine. Little backstory on this one. I was on the Zelos Timekeepers Facebook group while I was walking, taking my morning walk, and I came across a post by a guy named Logan. He was trying to sell his Hammerhead 3 crystallized titanium watch at a ridiculously great price. I mean, hats off to him. He was selling that thing at a great price. I sent him a PM, and unfortunately, I was 20 minutes too late on the PM, and another guy named David beat me to it. All's fair in love and war, etc. I was a little despondent, and another Facebook friend of mine, another Zelos Timekeeper group member, whose name I will try to pronounce correctly, and I've already apologized to him in PMs for butchering it, and I'm going to apologize again. I'll do my best. Varun Vadaraj. It's Indian. Anyway, Varun had this watch here. And he agreed to sell it to me at a fair price. I guess he's, wasn't wearing it anymore. And for me, it sort of was a nice salve on the hurt of losing the crystallized titanium. I ended up with a different special edition Hammerhead 3 that is rarer. And I have a great fondness for rare Zelos watches. I picked up from Varun a Hammerhead 3 in Tantalum. This is serial number 15 of 20 Hammerhead 3 Tantalum watches made by Zelos. Comes on this very nice, slightly textured FKM rubber strap with a matching buckle and pin matching to the crown, which is done in a contrasting black to the kind of medium gray of the tantalum. Now, I'll get into what tantalum is here in a minute. It is not something that is used very often in the watch industry. This is not a typical watch case material, as opposed to, say, steel or ceramic or any of the three precious metals, or four precious metals: yellow gold, white gold, silver, platinum. Or you don't see very many silver watches either. I think Ocean Crawler just did a sale recently on some of their silver case prototypes, but I passed on those. But it's a typical Hammerhead 3. It's smaller and a little bit less thick and water resistant than the Hammerhead 1 and 2, which I have copies of those, or examples of those. In fact, the first Zelos I ever bought was a bronze Hammerhead 1. Shout out to my favorite Croatian, Davor, for turning me on to Zelos all those years ago. Has the standard Hammerhead case back with the beautiful engraving of the sea scene of two hammerhead sharks swimming together. And I believe this part is stainless steel. but the case is tantalum. Now, what is tantalum? It is on the periodic table. It is the symbol is Ta. Its atomic number is 73. It was named after Tantalus, a villain in Greek mythology. It's very hard, very dense, corrosion-resistant metal. And this watch is very, very heavy. I think this watch weighs a little on the north side of 200 grams. Very heavy watch by comparison to even the steel Hammerhead that I own. It's very hard to machine, and that's one of the main reasons why you don't see tantalum watches or watch cases out there in the industry. I'm not sure if Zelos is the first to have done it, but they're the first I've ever seen to do it. They started out with very few limited edition swordfish cases, and in these cases, and I believe they've also done some Sky Raiders in tantalum. But it's a very dense, very heavy metal. Just holding it in your hand, you can feel the weight. Now, when you put it on wrist, it's actually not a very it's not a hard watch for me to wear, weight wise. Of course, I've always been a fan of heavy watches and big watches, and you can see on my 7 1/4 inch wrist, it's typical Hammerhead. It fits beautifully. Very short on the lug to lug, and on the overhead, it fits my 7 1/4 inch wrist beautifully. Let's see. It is mostly used in electronics. It's mostly used. The material is mostly used as capacitors because of its corrosion resistance. It's also used quite a bit in jet engine components, missile components, and nuclear reactors. Fun facts. It's also used in high heat exchangers, and its most popular use, because of the corrosion resistance and the fact that it's hypoallergenic, it's used in medical implants and surgical instruments. Let's see. NASA used it as radiation shielding on Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 spacecrafts. And also, I did note that Audemars Piguet, F.P. Journe, Hublot, Mont Blanc, Omega, and Panerai have used tantalum in the past. So Zelos is obviously not the first, but considering Zelos' audience, which is folks like you and me, regular folks, most of those watch brands I just named off, except maybe Omega, you could argue, and Panerai, most folks like you and I don't swim in those waters. So likely the first time you, and certainly the first time I ever heard of a tantalum watch, was when Zelos did it. And they did a beautiful job. And you can see this is number 15 of 20. So not a lot of these floating around out there. So I was really appreciative that Varun sold me this watch. It's a 44 millimeter case, typical, again, Hammerhead version 3. 22 millimeter lug, 48 millimeter on the tip to tip, and 15 millimeters thick with a slight dome on the sapphire crystal. The bezel is ceramic. The bezel insert is ceramic. Tantalum case, FKM strap. It's all powered by a Seiko NH35 movement. Hand winds, hacks, all that stuff. It's a 300 meter water resistant, as you can see right there. That's significantly lower than the first and second generation Hammerheads with their 1,000-meter water resistance. But then again, nobody's diving with these watches anyway. Let's be fair. Let's be real. Almost none of the dive watches that we buy actually go diving. I mean, hell, nowadays in the 21st century, which we are well and good into, if you're going scuba diving, you're most likely using a dive computer anyway. So, but we all love the dive watch aesthetic. It's a very easy bezel to turn. It's 120 click. It's very vocal. It's very solid. Oops. I was going to prove that it lines up beautifully, but it would help if the guy doing the turning would line it up, right? Lines up perfect. No slop. I mean, none. Zero slop on the bezel. It does a great job doing what it do. And just typical of Zelos watches. I mean, I've owned Zelos watches going all the way back to the Avant and the Cosmo and the Chroma, all the way up to the current stuff. This watch, the Starfighter, the Aurora, the Vitesse. Soon to be hopefully owning the Aurora Moon Phase whenever it comes out. In my opinion, they've never made a dud. They've never made a bad watch. The Chroma was a little iffy because of the location of the crown. Makes it kind of hard for somebody with fat fingers like mine to grab onto it. Other than that, I've owned many. Love them all. This one is no exception. And again, knowing my preference to own rare Zelos watches or limited production Zelos watches, this watch ticks all the boxes, and has inspired me at some point to go ahead and pick up the other two special editions that were released at the same time as this one. The Hammerhead 3 Damascus, which I reviewed in another video, which is owned by my buddy John. Maybe he'll sell me his eventually. And I am definitely going to get a hold of one of those crystallized titaniums at some point. I just don't know when or how, but I'm inspired now to pick up those two watches to complete the set of the special edition Hammerhead 3s. So I'm going to wrap the video up, and then I'm going to go put this on. I'm going to wear it today because why not? So if you like this video, you found it to be entertaining, informative, useful, etc., please click that thumbs up for me. That does help the channel with respect to the YouTube algorithms and helps grow the channel. So it only takes about a half second to do it. So please do that for me. Comments, questions, suggestions down below. I do read them all. I do respond to them all. However, if you are going to try and troll me, or you're going to leave links to bad places on the internet, I'm simply going to delete the comment. I'm going to block the commenter. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm glad you found the channel. If you're a repeat viewer of the channel, but you haven't already clicked the subscribe button, and obviously if you're a new person, you haven't done that yet, please click the subscribe button. Help me grow this channel a little bit more. It don't take no time. Just a simple click. Don't forget to click the bell icon too, so that when I upload new material or I do a live stream, you are alerted. Meanwhile, as I always say at the end of my videos, it is a crazy old world out there. It is not getting any less crazy. So when you go out and about, please be careful, be safe, be well. I'll see you soon.